Hi guys! So we're on the 7th chapter of the Auschwitz Escape. Anyway, I know I haven't posted in a long while about this, but you've been waiting and here it is. Dive in. Oh, we're still in the 6th chapter. Oh, okay. Luke felt he was living in a nightmare. As the days passed, the group staying in his home settled in a routine of sorts. Night after night, the group gathered for dinner around the radio. Luke would invite them, Mr. Halloween, to read a psalm and then say a blessing for the food as they all bowed their heads. Then Lily and Madeline would serve baskets of freshly baked bread, and Claire would serve the meal, often one of her homemade soup recipes, since money was tight and soup was the furthest. And as they ate, they would listen to the latest news from Paris, as well as from the BBC in London. None of it was good. Not ever. On the night of May 15th, they listened in shock to details of Holland surrendering to the Nazis. By May 28th, the Belgium had formally surrendered too, though they had long since been overrun. They listened into horror to report after report of German forces blazing and murdering their way through the northern France and moving steadily forward to their beloved Paris. They couldn't imagine the Germans actually seizing the capital, but on the night of June 10th, the BBC reported that the French government had been evacuating Paris. Pardon. 4 days later, they wept upon hearing reports of the Nazis entering and occupying the capital. Soon the French were signing an armistice with Hitler. Prime Minister Reynaud was stepping down. Before they knew what was happening, the 84-year-old Marshal Philippe Pétain, a puppet of Adolf Hitler, was suddenly the head of a new French government operating not out of Paris but out of the town of Vichy. To make matters, I don't know if I pronounced Vichy right. I'm so sorry. Vichy or Vichy. To make matters worse, they heard reports that Hitler's forces were heading to the northern France, now known as the occupied zone, while allowing Pétain to administrate the center and south, ostensibly now known as the Free Zone, though it could hardly be truly free with the jackboot of Der Februar on their necks. In the meantime, none of the folks who had come from Sedan with Monique and Jacqueline had departed, nor had the Halaby family from Brussels. Homeless and shell-shocked, none of them knew where else to go or what else to do. The Europe they had all known, the Europe they had all loved and grown up in, was gone in the hands of a madman who was now attempting to conquer Britain and North Africa as well. Luke and Claire gathered in their bedroom late at night after each day's work was done, after everyone else had gone to sleep, after they themselves had washed and changed and gotten ready for bed. Together they got down on their knees. They thanked the Lord for having mercy on them all, for saving their lives and providing for their essential needs. They asked for mercy for their country and the whole of Europe, and they took turns praying for specific family members or friends. Most of all, they pleaded the Lord for wisdom. What exactly were they supposed to do with a house full of people? How were they supposed to care and provide for them while meeting their own needs? They had no idea. Pastor's allowance didn't go far. Monique had money, but it had probably all been stolen by the Nazis by now. Still, there were some glimmers of hope. Luke's fellow pastors were becoming a great support. He had no problem with caring for many people. To the contrary, they were thrilled and a wonderful answer to prayer. Chrétien and Emile and their wives brought over bushels of fruit and vegetables to help feed everyone. They brought fresh clothes so the group didn't have to wear the same things day after day. One morning, Emile showed up with the new identity papers for each person and a plan to move most of them in with other families, including his own, to lighten the burden and not draw so much attention to Luke and Claire, lest the authorities start asking questions. Chrétien showed special kindness to the Jewish family. Hearing rumors that Jews throughout Nazi-occupied Europe were being forced to wear yellow stars and brought them new papers, and they said they were French citizens and Gentiles, and he bought them clothes to make them look like locals. One afternoon while visiting Luke and Claire, he smiled and declared, "What an honor to be chosen to care for God's chosen people." Luke reflected on that for the next few days. He hadn't really thought about it as an honor, it just seemed the right thing to do. The Bible commanded him to love his neighbors. Weren't these his neighbors, even if they didn't believe the same things he believed? Then one day, he heard the whistle of the daily 1 o'clock train pulling into the station. A few minutes later, he heard more pounding on his front door. To his astonishment, there were 3 families, more than 20 people total, standing on his front porch. They were dressed as much as Halabi's had been dressed the night they arrived, and they had that unmistakable look of fear in their eyes. "We heard you taking Jews," said one of the elders in the group. "Is it true?" This time, before he even take time to think what he was about doing, he heard himself saying, "Of course, please come in." Thank you guys for listening, and I'll update you for part 2.